Only 10 minutes late. That's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
I'm going to talk a little louder today because I'm further away from the mic. I'm a quiet person.
So, speaking of microphone,
Yes.
we're only using one today.
That is different.
It is decidedly different because we have a guest this time.
Hey!
It's the voice.
And we no longer have a guest.
Okay.
This is our friend Darren. Plays D&D with us. He has been known to DM a game. He has been known to play in a game. The two major parts of D&D.
Yes.
DMing and playing.
Actually,
What's the third biggest part?
Being an opinionated asshole, which you are great at, by the way.
There.
Yeah. And that's entirely what we do on this, so.
That is. If you were watching the live stream, you'll notice that our layout is also quite a bit different because we have three people. And we're testing out our new lights as well. I'm sure it looks fine.
It definitely looks less orange.
Which is, I mean...
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Less orange is usually
usually we just have the one light that's above the table when we're doing this thing.
That light is still in the room.
It's still in the room. We didn't turn it on. Did not turn it on. It's not going to be turned on.
It failed. We failed our turn on light check.
Our turn on light saving throw?
Yes.
Look, sometimes those object interactions just don't want to work with you.
Object interactions can be a bit of a hassle from time to time.
I mean, 90% of the time when I'm playing a game, I don't remember that I have an object interaction, and I don't use it.
Yeah. I mean,
It's very rare when it comes up the need to in the first place.
Agreed. I would argue that drinking a potion should be an object interaction and not an action, but I can see how that could be a little much.
I mean, if you wanted to, increase the amount of, healing and damage that was done in combat, you could always make that your object interaction, because obviously, if you have to consume a spell slot and or action bonus action to do healing, it kind of slows what you can do on a turn.
Yeah, and definitely you would probably have to change up the pricing scheme for health potions and all that.
I think the best homebrew thing that I've seen relatively recently for healing potions was definitely that it's a bonus action to use normally, but if you take it as an action to use the potion, you automatically get the maximum amount from that healing potion.
That's fair. I've also seen there's a magic item that makes you get a bandolier of healing potions, and then you can use your object interaction with those because they're at the ready, quick access kind of a thing.
I played a game with those.
Yeah, we might need to make our own version of that.
That's an idea.
In a free magic item pack. Doty, take that down. Speaking of Doty,
yes,
our beloved Jester,
yes,
the other being of the house,
named after a Critical Role character.
Yes, she's been put away.
Mm-hmm.
She's being a little bit too feisty, even for us. Just saying something.
Yeah, she's been hyperactive this week.
Yeah,
and attacking everything.
Particularly in the last 30 minutes.
She was just running around like a mad woman when you left prior before you came. The second time.
Yeah. So, it do be like that from time to time.
Sometimes it do be like that.
Yeah. So Darren, what's up with you? Give us a lowdown on who you are. Why should the viewers at home give a shit?
They shouldn't.
Oh, that's fair.
Checks out entirely.
I am Sam's drinking buddy.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then learned we both played D&D, and then went from there, and that's about all I got.
That's really all you need.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I mean, we do have the shared trauma of dating the same woman, not at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
That was a thing.
Oh my gosh, one of my best friends from college, we shared the trauma of dating the same woman, not at the same time.
He still blames me for not warning him.
I do.
Yeah.
You really should have given me a heads up on that one.
I mean, would you have listened to me?
Probably not, but you should have at least said it so you could hold that over me.
That is valid.
Fair.
That is very valid. Well.
Got stuff to get into today.
Yeah, well, first of all, welcome to the Dungeon Bros podcast. This is episode 11. Got some Unearthed Arcana we're going to be talking about later. We got a new book announcement and some other bits and bobs. If you like this, you should rate us on your podcast service of choice. Preferably 5 stars.
And leave us a review.
Yeah.
A good one.
Yeah.
Not bad.
If you would rate us 3 or less, don't bother.
Ooh, 3 or less. Before it was, I believe, 4 or less.
4 or less. Don't even bother. Don't even bother until you like us more. If you don't like the audio today, sorry, we're trying something new.
This might be fine. This might be better. Who knows?
If it's better, I'm going to be sad. I'm not going to lie. Because we spent money on microphones. And
we've got other uses for them coming up.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I don't think when we have full 4 players, 1 DM, that just 1 mic will work.
That for sure will.
Minimum 3 at that point. 1 for DM, 2 for each player.
That is exactly
2 players per.
Yeah, that is literally the plan we have in place. Specifically. Now, you can also follow us on the Twitters. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. We got some YouTube videos coming. You can catch a breakdown of all of our free D&D homebrew that we put up on DriveThruRPG. We like to do a video for those now.
Yep.
You probably know us from TikTok, where almost 16,000 of you follow us now.
It's ever expanding.
Ever expanding. We had another video hit 1 million.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah.
The guy who was like, "Hey, if you go to the gym 5 days a week, you could look great by June."
I know which one we're talking.
And we said, why do that when you could? If you had time to go to the gym 5 days a week, you might as well just play D&D 5 days a week.
I think we can all just quit our jobs.
Why not do both?
Yeah, just quit our jobs.
There were so many people that said that. Why can't I do both? Because fuck you, that's why.
Well, that's just rude.
Yeah. If you enjoy the podcast, you can catch it live on the TikTok. Right now, as we record it.
Yes.
we sometimes put a live event, sometimes not.
We did it this week.
We did it this week, and we gave you several days of notice, which is more than we ever do, really.
3-ish days, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, let's get into the meat of the news now. We will start with item number 1, top item. There's a new D&D book.
New D&D book coming out. We
got Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. It's going to be coming out on June 21st of 2020. So, pretty soon, a couple months. You're going to be traveling the mists of the ethereal plane to find the Radiant Citadel. You're going to travel across the multiverse, and basically it's just a whole bunch of adventures.
Yeah.
We've seen this before.
But this one is boasting all POC writers.
That is true.
As 50 POC writers are working on this book and support the book in some capacity, as reported by Sci-Fi Wire.
Yeah. You can also find it on dnd.wizards.com.
And a number of other
articles
or sources.
Oh, yeah. Polygon. Oh, Polygon.
Oh, Polygon.
Not a fan of Polygon. We've talked about this before. Anyway, this book's going to have 13 new standalone adventures that'll take... Well, it won't take characters from levels 1. It spans 1 to 14.
Yeah, I was going to say...
They're standalone. Introduces the Radiant Citadel, a new location in the ethereal plane. Each adventure is going to be set in an existing D&D campaign setting or on worlds of your own design. You can put this anywhere. Introduces 11 new D&D monsters. Going to come out $49.95. Kind of standard for your D&D book pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Darren, you going to run any of these?
Possibly. I mean, I think that's one of my favorite things with a lot of the books that add things into different planes is that whether it's in a homebrew world or if you're taking it from an existing one, you can throw it in there and no one can really say, oh, well, that belongs here. You can't have it. It's another plane of existence. Mm-hmm. It's how many of these are fluid, especially with one that's such as the ethereal plane.
Oh, yeah.
It's the entire point is that entire plane is a fluid plane that changes based on thought. So...
yeah. Sam and I have had a somewhat similar idea in the past. We didn't end up going through with it. We instead decided to do TikTok and podcasting and YouTube video making and homebrew making for online instead. A good decision, I might add. But we had plans originally to create a Facebook group of all of the friends that we have that play D&D and kind of make we're playing D&D on this day. The first 5 people to respond are the ones who are playing in it, and just kind of like a drop in, drop out sort of D&D loose adventure where a book like this, or Tales of the Yawning Portal, for example.
The one-shot type books.
Candlekeep Mysteries that just have a bunch of standalone adventures that you can run in short bursts. I don't know if we'll pick it up. We might.
I mean, so we played, our buddy Salem for the 3 of us, ran a one-shot from Candlekeep Mysteries, and that was very enjoyable.
It was a good time. It was something.
But as it's looking right now, this sort of book, they're probably going to put out one a year, considering they put out Yawning Portal a couple years ago. Last year was Candlekeep, and now we have this one coming up.
Yeah, I think this is great for first-time DMs or newer DMs. It lets you jump in and out at any level. You don't have to worry about a long, overarching through line. It teaches you kind of how to read a D&D adventure book in general. Good shit.
Good shit.
Good shit.
Good shit.
We may add it to the repertoire. If you guys want us to buy it when it comes out and discuss it on the podcast, please let us know in the comments section on the YouTube video. You can tweet at us or
join our Discord.
Join our Discord server and let us know there. The Discord growing at a rapid pace. We're up to over like 30 at this point.
Pretty good.
Big shit.
Big shit.
Big shits. Something I'm good at. Next, Critical Role. We like Critical Role.
We are fans.
We are fans of
Wait,
Critical
since
Role.
when? When did that start?
Oh, just don't look at that Tal'Dorei campaign guide, or the Tal'Dorei Reborn, or the Wildmount, or the Critical Role art book.
Yeah.
Don't look at any of that, or Ukatoa, or the Mighty Nine Munchkin, or the comics.
Yeah. Okay.
Or the call of the Netherdeep that's right in front of us, displayed.
You know, that makes sense.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Red Nose Day.
Red Nose Day.
And the Critical Role Foundation yet again are going to be having Stephen Colbert on for a little D&D one-shot. This time... Oh, well, we should probably start with Red Nose Day is a special fundraiser to help eradicate childhood poverty. Incredibly important right now. Mm-hmm. The world's fucked up. People are dying in Ukraine. It's fucked up. The world's a fucked up place.
People are dying everywhere.
People are dying everywhere, but, you know. Anyway. They've done this before. It was a little one-on-one campaign with Matt Mercer and Stephen Colbert. People that donated were able to contribute what was going to happen in that little one-on-one adventure. This time, we're just going to give you the whole breakdown here. So they've carefully crafted a handful of options that they think are going to be very memorable and unique for Stephen and the cast. They're going to have people playing with him this time. You can donate and help choose what is going to happen in that adventure. If you're familiar with him, what kind of familiar is he going to have with him on his adventure? What kind of special magic item might you give him? Or a special one-time use spell, for example. Polling options that garner the most donations will be incorporated into the one-shot, which will air on the Critical Role Twitch channel on Thursday, April 28th at 7 p.m. Pacific. Most importantly, your donation will go to support Red Nose Day's very important mission to help children living below the poverty line.
I believe last time he was playing a bard with a bumblebee companion.
The bumblebee
died.
Yeah, that was
that was sad.
Spoilers.
It came out more than 6 months.
I was gonna say it's what 2022, so that was 3 years ago. I think we can talk about it.
Yeah. Polling is going to be open starting from right now all the way until April 1st at 6 p.m. Pacific. And no, it is not an April Fool's joke, as they say. Will this episode be out by April 1st? I think like right before.
I think
we know how to look at a calendar, I think.
Here we go. Choose Your Own Adventure Airshot will air on Critical Role's Twitch channel on April 28th at 7 p.m.
This episode of the podcast, will it be out by April 1st?
Oh. No. I think it comes out... Oh, wait. How does time work?
It's a weird soup. Time is a really weird...
April 1st would be 6 days.
April 1st is Friday, so if you're listening to this podcast the day it comes out, or the day after, or the day after that, you still have time to go donate to the Red Nose Foundation through Critical Role and help impact what's going to go on.
So if you're live, go donate now. If you're not, what are you doing?
Good luck. Hopefully you're listening to this soon. I know that they're having some of the cast on as well to make it more of a proper one-shot instead of a one-on-one. But Critical Role didn't put that in their press release, so that's where we are.
Well,
the last one-shot that he did with Matt was really, really fun, and you could tell that he was like really into it and kind of going back to his days as a youth.
You can watch his face light up the minute the world starts getting described.
It's
wonderful
awesome
to watch.
Stephen Colbert, notoriously big fan of J.R.R. Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings universe, Middle Earth, if you will. It's kind of one of his main character traits, I would say. And we, as we all know, the overlap between Lord of the Rings and D&D is almost a circle. It's a good mix.
Pretty close.
Yeah. He also knew how to play it up. Like he wasn't just like I don't know how to play D&D. I'm just going to be kind of chill and normal.
He rolled with the blows the whole time.
He rolled with the punches. He got wild and weird and just it's good stuff.
It was wet and wacky, wild fun.
Wet and wacky and wild and fun, indeed. Item 3, Sam.
Item 3, rolling right off of the charity fundraiser with Critical Roll and Red Nose Day. This one coming from nworld.org. Modifius launches RollVsEvil project to help fight real-world evils. RollVsEvil is a non-profit created by Modifius' Chris and Rita Birch and is to help the
Gabletop community.
The tabletop gaming community help fight real-world evils with medical aid, humanitarian support, education, and more. Their first campaign is going to be supporting those affected by the invasion of Ukraine.
Yes. March 25th, which is the day we are recording this. And it'll be last week by the time you're watching this. Roll20 is streaming a charity event to celebrate the launch. There's a whole lot of companies involved: Mantic Games, Steve Jackson Games, Gamma, Cubicle 7, Roll20, UK Games Expo, etc., and so on. A lot of very popular gaming companies that are contributing to this.
And on March 26th, so tomorrow...
if you are watching live.
If you are watching live tomorrow, at the time of recording, tomorrow, all you need to... you can also donate. All you need to do is just play a game online or in person and basically have somebody collect money. They suggest throwing a few dollars to re-roll a dice or draw another card. It's up to you. Keep it simple and fun. But there is a link that goes to a Just Giving page that you will be able to, looks like, continuously donate on.
Wow. That's actually a really cool idea of getting the tabletop streaming community together and linking it in with this to be like, hey, you guys should run an adventure or a one-shot where, oh, fuck, I rolled a 2. And you just kind of wait for the audience, and they're like, no, give them help.
Kind of similar to what was the one that Critical Role did. Every natural one was $100 was donated to...
yeah, they donated to... It's Travis's favorite.
Yeah, it's the military one.
Yeah.
We are really bad at this.
Memory is hard.
But yeah, every time they would roll a natural one, I believe it was $100.
It was for like 2 or 3 years continuously.
OSD.
Operation Supply Drop. That is right. Yeah, every natural one that they rolled, money was donated. And I think this is a much smaller way of doing that, which, to be fair, nobody really is Critical Role, except Critical Role.
Yeah.
In that scale. So it makes sense. I enjoy it. I like that idea. More interactivity between the audience and the players themselves. I'm sure that's a lot to manage as a DM, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But look, we know that nerds, and we say nerds lovingly as we are them.
Yeah, if we were insulting, we'd call you dweebs.
But lots of nerds have lots of money.
I don't think that's the word I'd use.
Fucking nerds?
Better.
Yeah, fair.
Cool. Moving on. The next one. This comes from dnd.wizards.com, and this is the expanding Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons in Brazil. As of last week, so March 14th, Wizards of the Coast announced that they are going to publish Dungeons & Dragons in Brazil in Portuguese.
Their native language. Mm-hmm. Starting in the second half of 2022, they're going to start with the core rulebooks, Player's Handbook, DMG, Monster Manual, and some of the supplemental stuff like the Essentials Kit and the Starter Kit.
This is as quoted, this announcement is extremely important for the Brazilian D&D community, which has been following Dungeons & Dragons for decades.
Rinaldo Barbella, head of LATAM from Wizards of the Coast. I don't know what that organization is. Does it say? Okay. That's just an abbreviation for Latin America?
Yeah. Yep.
We need to abbreviate that?
We need to abbreviate everything. Look around.
I mean, we literally are a D&D podcast.
Yeah.
It is an abbreviation.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get mad at abbreviations.
Did you hand me a PHB right now? How about a DMG?
No.
Maybe
no,
an MM? No one uses
MM. No one uses MM. At least not verbally.
No, they use a Bard's Black Book.
A Bard's Black Book, he says.
You're welcome. By the way, I have to go. That's the end of what I get to say here today.
Congratulations to the Brazilian people. We are sorry.
But Darren has said things.
Yes.
You're welcome.
And Sam, you can handle this last one, because I don't want to.
So Darren.
Yes.
Announced for pre-order in Q3 of this year, Renegade Game Studios, which is Hasbro, and they have licensed games like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Power Rangers tabletop RPG, are now going to put out the My Little Pony tabletop roleplay game.
I mean, hey, as long as it's chaos, that's all that really matters.
The My Little Pony role-playing game will players can craft their own custom pony character and use the storytelling game of friendship and magic as they combat various threats and other problems in Equestria and beyond throughout the adventures.
Can you still cast Fireball?
I don't know.
There's only one situation where I'm okay with this, and that is a parent or an adult running this game for a bunch of young women or girls.
That's a bit sexist.
I'm not a big fan. Well, whatever. Younger people. I'm not a big fan of the bronies. Personally.
What about the Pegasisters?
The what?
Pegasisters. That's what the females are called.
You just like broke my fucking
You've never heard of
language center before.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to have a nice thing to say, so I'm just not going to. I'm more okay with that.
Anyway, this book is the book will be full color hardcover book with a satin ribbon bookmark and is advertised for ages 13 and up. Which,
I mean, I'll say coming with the bookmark is actually great because none of the others do. Really,
yeah, that's true.
Hold on,
and that's actually useful because I will forget pages every damn time I DM.
It's made for people 13 and up?
That's what it says.
Isn't the My Little Pony target demographic like 8 to 12? Feels like they're just missing the target demographic there. That's all I'm going to say.
If we have to Google the demographic, I don't think it matters.
I mean, obviously, apparently the demographic is like 30 to 45-year-old men as well, but...
I mean, whoever watches it. That's like saying I can't go back and watch like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I'm not saying you can't.
That's a child show.
I'm not saying you can't.
I can't go watch SpongeBob again?
I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying the people that discover it later in life and weren't exposed to it as children and loved it as children and grew up with it, it's a little bit strange. It's a bit strange. That's all I'm saying. If I watched Blue's Clues today, I wouldn't give a shit about Blue's Clues. It'd be a bit weird as a 20-something-year-old man that I'm watching Blue's Clues for the first time thinking like, wow, this is like the best thing ever.
Look, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. Remember that time Critical Role did a My Little Pony one-shot?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't talk about that one. I like to forget
Sounds
that
like
one.
you're targeting.
But yeah, so if you're a fan of My Little Pony, this is going to be it's a 300-page book.
Damn, that's good. That's a good size.
It is a full on system of its own. So,
is it a D20 system?
I do not know. It does not say.
Scroll back up. GM screen and a dice bag. So I'm guessing it's probably a D20 system.
Good chance.
Yeah. All right.
Even if it worked as a D6 system.
Oh, sorry. It uses the Renegade's in-house system, Essence 20.
So a D20 system.
D20 system.
So
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so in Q2 or Q3, it'll be available for pre-order.
You gonna pre-order it, Darren?
I might, just to piss you off.
I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care what you do. Well, then it'll get thrown away.
And if you throw them in my book, you're paying me, and I'm buying another copy.
I'm donating it to St. Vincent de Paul.
You're still paying for it.
No.
Possession. Cat.
Property law. Possession.
I'll take your cat.
she wouldn't go quietly.
It isn't really her strategy, so
Yeah,
I was gonna say
she's not a fan of vehicles. She would fight you to not get in a vehicle.
Well, that's what we have in the news.
Those are the 5 news items for today. Number 6 is what we're talking about. This is the main topic of discussion today. There's a new Unearthed Arcana, which, by the way, you guys care that I call it Unearthed instead of Unearthed?
I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum.
Yes.
Unearthed Arcana from 2022. I think this is one of the few. I think this is the first one of the year.
I believe so.
Pretty sure.
Because we would have talked about the.
They've had the spell survey.
They had spell survey.
And they had the Feats survey, but they haven't had a proper UA yet.
Of course, they have put out quite a few books, and so they probably are trying to.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I think they've pretty much culminated all the ones over the last couple of years into books at this point.
Most of the content, for sure.
Most, if not all of it. They haven't cut.
They still haven't published any of the ships and water combat stuff that they did forever ago.
That's true.
Which is a shame.
Wasn't Salem talking about how they just put that into one of the books?
Because he was talking
about
Saltmarsh.
Yeah. Oh, they put it in Saltmarsh.
Yeah, because he
said he was going to bring it for me to check out next time since reasons.
Yeah.
I think we both need to check that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Unearthed Arcana is the Heroes of Krynn. Guys, Sam, adding to the Dungeon Bros podcast lore here a little bit, I feel like one of us might be a D&D oracle.
Okay.
Of some sort.
One of us might be.
We totally predicted a Dragonlance setting for one of the unannounced books.
Well, I mean, we had some evidence. It was an educated guess.
It was an educated guess, but I mean, this is decidedly for a Dragonlance setting book. They have not officially said that, but the Kender, Dragonlance, Lunar Magic, Dragonlance, the backgrounds and feats reference things in Dragonlance. This is for a Dragonlance book. Very exciting. Starting off, they double down again on the new way of character creation for ability score increases, floating +2 and +1 or 3 +1s, before they get into the Kender. Now, the Kender was a little bit contentious.
I love it.
I like this iteration of the Kender. People didn't like the previous version because they just kind of made it seem like, a little elf goblin-y boy just wants to be a kleptomaniac and steal things.
The tracks.
Whereas this is just sort of like a fey magic sort of trickstery, I make things come out of my pockets.
This is almost like, it kind of reminds me of like a cartoon character almost.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you have anything to help this? I have a sword. No.
Do you have anything? Where did I get a sickle? Why was this in my pocket? It's any simple weapon you are proficient with.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. It's got 3 core features. Obviously, it's humanoid, small, walking speed of 30 feet. Glad to see that the small creatures aren't getting 25 feet anymore. Mm-hmm. That's annoying and arbitrary. Brave, that you get immediately. You have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. Natively, you also get Taunt, which is basically as a bonus action, you can throw a bunch of insults at someone, and they have to succeed a wisdom saving throw that's based off of your charisma modifier, or they have disadvantage on attack rolls until the start of your next turn, which is useful. You can use it a number of times equal to your proficiency. You regain all when you finish a long rest. The big one, though, is Kender Ace. You get it at 3rd level. You have the ability to pull an item out of a bag or any other container as a bonus action. You reach into the container and you roll on a random table, and it lasts for 1 hour, and it kind of shimmers a little bit. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Get it all back on a long rest. It's a D6 table. You get 5d6 gold pieces on a 1, a simple weapon of your choice that has the light property from 2, an item of your choice from the adventuring gear table in the player's handbook. Cannot cost more than a gold and weigh no more than 1 pound on a 3. 1 random item from the trinkets table in the player's handbook on a 4. Your choice of a crowbar or a grappling hook on a 5.
That could go multiple directions.
And one item of your choice from the tools table in the player's handbook. The item can cost no more than 10 gold pieces on a 6.
No, officer, there's nothing in my pocket. Pulls out a crowbar.
Or
I don't know how this got here.
I like the incorporation of the trinkets table from the player's handbook. That's always a good time.
Yeah, I was going to say, that table doesn't get too much use outside of like, all right, roll when you create a character, and now you have this thing.
Yeah.
It's there. You're probably not going to do anything with it.
I am a big fan of large D100 tables of just random shit that means nothing, but could mean something later.
I was going to say, I think the only thing that currently uses it is the Phantom class. That Salem plays.
Oh, the Phantom subclass for the Rogue?
Yes. I believe that is the only one that currently actually uses trinkets as a mechanic at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they threw that on there because it just adds that random, I have been collecting things over time. What do I randomly have now? Okay, I have a doll's head in my pocket for some reason.
That's funny.
I mean, I think that's one of them.
Yeah,
right, because we found the one in the library.
So that was actually I pulled that I pulled that one from Ravenloft because there's also a creepy object table in Ravenloft.
Even better.
And since that's Salem's whole aesthetic in that campaign and most campaigns is
Spoopy, and then in my game, just what's the most chaotic random object I can go purchase at this moment in time?
Yeah.
I need a bag to hold rats and let them be alive inside it.
The whole trying to create his own swarm of rats thing is just...
Oh, it's gonna move forward. One way or another.
He's getting a flesh golem, man.
Well, no, it's
a clay golem.
Clay, sorry.
Clay with bones.
He tried to make it a rat golem, and I said no.
That's very reasonable. Very reasonable no. Any comments from the TikTok about the Kender?
Well, typical Gemini asks, what do we think about the Kender? So yeah, what are your impressions of the Kender?
Fun. I think Kender Aces is cool. Taunt is a great way to utilize a bonus action for some sort of benefit. Being more resistant to the frightened condition, always a good time. Kender Ace, I feel like, isn't going to be too useful other than, like, all right, let's just see.
It'll be great for roleplay purposes. Specifically for if you're playing a either high or very, very high or very low charisma character. Mm-hmm. It's like, how would you feel about, I'm going to roll and see if I pull out a weapon or if I pull out gold and if I'm going to try and bribe this guy or threaten. If I pull out a doll head and see how they react to that.
I like the idea of when you are about to enter a shop, you just reach in, you're like, am I going to pull out gold? Cool. And then you try and spend it before it disappears in an hour.
Yeah. Or am I going to rob the place? Oh, there's a dagger. Okay, guess we're robbing the place now.
I mean, to be fair, you could pull out the dagger and be like, oh, and then put it away and then try again.
I think that this is actually, like you said, the Kender Ace is a lot of fun, and I think that with the way that Wizards is going with the having, the ability scores being floating and other things like moving away from the alignment chart and moving away from necessarily like a lifespan set. Like having a reason to play each different ancestry is going to be like these cool little low-level features.
Yeah.
And I think that that this is definitely like the ace.
You're less worried about, I'm playing Variant Human because I want to start with my feet, and more toward, okay, thematically, what's the coolest thing I could have start with this, and start with this set of abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Moving on, we have the only subclass that is in this is the Lunar Magic Sorcerer. Now, Darren.
Yes.
You've admitted that you don't listen to the podcast.
Yes.
So you are unfamiliar with the Dungeon Bros podcast lore surrounding the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The moon is an employee of ours.
Yes.
It handles a lot of customer service. Kind of slow to respond to a lot of emails and calls.
Not very tech savvy.
Not very tech savvy at all. Really, really just kind of drags their feet.
Some work from accounting.
Yeah. It takes like a 2.5 hour lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are all welcome But I'm just saying, some of these features might be a little slow on the uptake. Is all I'm going to say about that. We're letting him do some freelance work on his own on the side. It's probably going to impact your customer service with the Dungeon Bros podcast. Mm-hmm. I apologize, but this is really kind of the give and take that we have to have for cool things like this.
Yeah, if you want lunar magic, you're gonna have to accept the same sacrifice we accept.
Anyway, the idea is the lunar magic is sort of derived from on Krynn, gods of magic associated with the world's 3 moons. It's a whole thing. We'll get into the features. Well, there's a small D4 table for how the lunar magic will manifest on you, and
which they include in all newer publications which have a sorcerer subclass and other subclasses.
Yeah. First off, for the sorcerer, you take your subclass at level 1, mm-hmm. and there's 2 first level features. The first one, Moonfire. Basically, you learn Sacred Flame. It doesn't count against the number of cantrips that you know, and when you cast it, you can target 1 creature as normal, or target 2 creatures that are within range, that are within 5 feet of each other. So just a slight buff to Sacred Flame.
Which is a very interesting thing to do for it, honestly.
The idea, the lore of Sacred Flame being a radiant thing has always kind of loosely been tied away. Sacred Flame is kind of a bad name for it, I think.
Yeah.
It definitely has always had that flavor more in the line of like your moonbeam, your daylight, sort of your like astral bodies, celestial lights of sorts. The other first level feature is Lunar Embodiment. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels. They do not count. They count as sorcerer spells for you, but not against the number of sorcerer spells that you know. And the list that you get, you can change out on a long rest. There's the full moon spells, which are Fairy Fire, Moonbeam, Death Ward, Freedom of Movement, and Mass Cure Wounds. The new moon spells are Dissonant Whispers, Darkness, Bestow Curse, Avard's Black Tentacles, and Mislead. And the crescent moon spells are Sanctuary, Blindness, Deafness, Phantom Steed, Hallucinatory Terrain, and Dream. You get those spells at Sorcerer level 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. You also get to cast the spells associated with that phase that you have selected. So the spells on the list can be cast once without expending a spell slot, and to cast them again in this way, you have to finish a long rest. So that's like 5 free spell casts a day at level 9.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
That's a lot.
That adds up quick.
I mean, yeah, we've got some feats, which I'm not these feats but things like Fey Touched and Shadow Touched, which do allow you 2 free casts of spells, but those are
set spells.
One second level for each, and 1 first level that you get to choose for each. But yeah, jumping up to 5th.
I mean, getting a free Death Ward or Moonbeam a day.
That's big.
That's a lot.
A free Avard's Black Tentacles or Bestow Curse. I like that. I like the new moon list a lot. The crescent moon list, I feel like, is the one that's a bit more situational. Blindness, Deafness is good. Hallucinatory Terrain, fine. Dream, fine.
Hallucinatory Terrain is one of those spells that you have to plan out long before you're going to use it. Yeah. But if you do use it right, it's going to be wonderful.
For sure. I definitely think that the full moon list and the new moon list are the stars of the show here. And then Crescent Moon if you have like some weird plans in the coming day. The next level is level 6. There are 2 more features. Lunar Boons. The lunar phases influence your metamagic. Each lunar phase is associated with spells from the following schools of magic. Full moon is abjuration and conjuration. New moon is evocation and necromancy. Crescent moon is divination and transmutation. Whenever you use metamagic on a spell from the lunar spells table or a spell of the school of magic associated with the lunar phase you are in, you can reduce the sorcery points spent to 1 by 1, minimum 0.
Yeah, you can't gain back sorcery points.
No. You can reduce the sorcery points spent for your metamagic a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So,
I mean, Twin or Quicken spell with that, you just get it free.
Now, so far at level 6, you have 3 spells that you can cast once for free per day. You now have, what would it be? 3 basically 3 extra sorcery points.
Yeah.
Effectively. And at level 6, you get Waxing and Waning, and as a bonus action, you can spend a sorcery point to change your lunar phase as well. It's not entirely clear whether if you, like, say you were in the full moon phase and you cast Fairy Fire for free, and then you swap to new moon, if you were allowed to cast Dissonant Whispers for free?
I would probably say no. I think it's that level across the board automatically counts as that's the level that you used. So I'd say you could probably use Fairy Fire and then change over to New Moon and use Darkness, but you would not be able to use Dissonant Whispers.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would roll it too, but the rules are kind of vague on that. Definitely DM discretion. It's also playtest. Could change.
Oh yeah,
very fair.
But by level 6, this is a powerful sorcerer.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Very versatile.
You get a bunch of free spells per day that you can cast without using a spell slot. You can reduce the amount of sorcery points you are using. You can change which list of spells you are getting in the middle of the day now at any point as a bonus action, which can then in turn change the kinds of spells that you can reduce your sorcery point cost on.
That would be, I'm planning for my next round, use this spell, change over, okay, next round, I'm good to go. I have everything I'm set.
Now,
all my prep work done.
Now, this does feel a little bit heavy on the sorcery point usage, but the fact that you are able to cast several spells without using a spell slot is going to make it easier for you to just change a spell slot into sorcery points. For sure. Next, level 14, Lunar Empowerment. Whenever you choose a lunar phase to affect your magic, you also gain the following benefits associated with that phase. For the full moon, you shed bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. In addition, you and creatures of your choice have advantage on saving throws while being within the bright light. So you have a 10-foot radius of bright light that everyone gets advantage on saving throws, including yourself. New moon. You have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. In addition, while you are in dim light or darkness, attack rolls have disadvantage against you. And then with the crescent moon, you gain resistance to necrotic and radiant damage.
That's where I think crescent moon starts to shine. Because automatic resistances always carry.
Now, having the paladin, very popular for his aura, or her aura, for their auras.
Yeah.
I feel like
ability.
The aura ability, as well as some of the aura spells, are also quite good. And
I was going to say, the full moon ability is similar to if you handed a paladin a Holy Avenger. Because it gives everything in that 10-foot radius advantage on saving throws. That's what the Holy Avenger does for the group.
And this isn't even advantage on saving throws against spells or against
just saving throws.
This is period saving throws. That is traps. That is spells, obviously. That is features that monsters might have that are not spells.
Mm-hmm.
That is so powerful. Obviously, level 14, you're getting up there.
Yeah.
So I think it's not out of the realm of what is
reasonability.
We're not in the realm of being overpowered at this point.
Yeah.
But that is a really, really good feature. I mean, getting advantage on stealth checks is nice, and having disadvantage on attacks against you in darkness is nice. Resistance to necrotic and radiant damage.
I could see going into the Underdark in the new moon phase, just so you have that advantage, and then as soon as you're under attack by either Drow, Durgar, anything like that, suddenly, full moon phase with your bonus action, all of them are now in bright light. They all have disadvantage anyway.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
That is a very good point. I think the new moon phase would be a little bit better if it kind of had a pass without a trace feel on it and made it, or similar to the full moon, kind of made it a radius around you.
Yeah.
Of people that were going to get advantage on stealth, so you could kind of huddle together and move as a group.
I mean, you gotta, it kind of feels, so obviously one of the ideas of behind taking a sorcerer is the ability to be flexible with your casting. So adding these features kind of makes it feel like you're shifting a little bit into, like you said, full moon for a paladin class, new moon for a roguey, almost roguelike class, crescent moon maybe for something just in the middle where it's like...
we don't have a rogue in the party. Okay, I'll go new moon and scout out ahead of us.
Yeah.
We don't have a good way of having this aura ability, or the saving throw bonus. Okay, I'll go full moon for this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going into a direct combat with something that you know what kind of damage it's going to throw at you, crescent moon. Maybe you can...
demons.
Yeah. So you have that necrotic and radiant resistance. You don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, and by the time you're level 14, you've got a lot of sorcery points that you can, especially since you can still
dumping spells and throwing them back in.
You're dumping spells. You're getting spells for free, so you're not using as many spell slots. You can still reduce your sorcery point usage at that point. What, 4 or 5 times a day?
I believe that's 4 times at that point.
4 times a day.
4 yeah.
That's 4 additional sorcery points effectively on top of all of that. It's good shit. The final feature of this sorcerer subclass, level 18, Lunar Phenomenon. As a bonus action, you can tap into a special power of the lunar phase that you are currently in. Alternatively, as part of the bonus action you can also activate your waxing and waning to immediately use the power from a lunar phase that you are entering. So if you are currently full moon, you can choose to use the full moon effect, or as part of the bonus action to use the effect, you can instead change into another one and use that effect. So you're not limited to, I have to change, and the next turn I can use the ability.
Yeah.
That's for free. The full moon. You radiate intense moonlight for a moment. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or be blinded until the end of their next turn. In addition, one creature of your choice in that area regains 3d8 hit points.
So you got the healing and the bonuses.
Yes. A flash that makes every enemy around you less effective, basically, and
a flashbang who throws a healing potion at someone.
You're
playing COD.
It seems a bit, yeah. It seems a bit out of place for this sorcerer motif so far, but I mean, I'm never going to be against random healing.
Yeah. And it's what, 3d8?
3d8.
So it's not crazy. It'll get someone up that's unconscious.
Especially at that level, that's oh shit, my friend's down. Get up.
Get up. You're going to be giving...
Everyone else is blind for give it like a minute, and then you gotta move.
It gives you a chance to get someone up and get them the hell out of there.
Exactly.
Which is great. New moon. You momentarily emanate an oppressive gloom. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must succeed a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, or take 3d10 necrotic, and have their speed reduced to 0 until the end of their next turn. In addition, you become invisible until the end of your next turn, or until you make an attack or cast a spell. I feel like this is, of the 3, this one is like the highlight. Because much like with the other one, how you are making them blinded and thus less effective, you are causing damage to a large swath of creatures, making them unable to move on their own, and in addition, getting a free cast of invisibility on yourself, at least until the end of your next turn.
For 1 round.
Not even 1 round. It's like 1 round plus, because it's the end of your next turn and not the start of your turn.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like this one the most, with Full Moon being a very close second.
I actually put Crescent Moon at the top.
Ooh, speaking of. Crescent Moon, you slip through light and darkness. You can magically teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 60 feet of yourself. In addition, you also gain resistance to all damage until the start of your next turn. Before we continue, though, all of those features can be used once for free as a bonus action. You can do them again after finishing a long rest, or you can spend 5 sorcery points to use them again. I can see why you would like Crescent Moon quite a bit. I think all 3 of these are quite good.
I think they're good. I think the biggest part is that you can, when you go into it, you don't have to choose the one you're in.
Yeah, you can change that form. And I think I like Crescent Moon because I like I mean, you guys know me. I like the idea of like the shock trooper goes in, does something, gets out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at that like, okay, use my bonus action to teleport into the center of a giant group of enemies, throw down a high-level thunder step, and use a sorcery point to double the radius on it, and jump out, so I'm hitting a giant group of people, taking as much of them out, and then jumping 90 feet away, like, okay, bye, we're done here.
That in combination with Thunderstep is a cool idea. You kind of lose the effectiveness of the resistance to all damage until the start of your next turn.
The way I would probably do with that...
it is until the start of your next turn, so you can, when they start targeting
that
you.
It is 60 feet there and 90 feet with Thunderstep. So I can jump 60 feet into the center of, say, the forward troops, and then 90 feet past them back toward where their generals or their other leaders may be, and then I'm right next to the leader, with resistance to anything they can throw at me right now.
Now, what I'm seeing is, because a point of clarity here on the rules, once you use one of the phase's bonus actions, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, which to me implies that you could use each of them once before having to spend 5 sorcery points.
That definitely needs some rules.
That would definitely need clarification. If that is the case, I'm imagining what you were saying, Crescent Moon, you slip in, you grab someone that might be down or about to go down and thunder step them out. Which I believe you can take someone with you with thunder step.
Yes, you can take one creature with you.
You damage a bunch of people, and then on your next turn, you can immediately go do full moon, heal them, and if anything got near you, they're blinded.
I mean, even if you have to spend the 5 sorcery points to do it a second time, that'd be worth it for getting in, getting someone out, and then going forward again.
Yeah. As a capstone feature for the sorcerer, it's not literally because it's not level 20, but as the capstone feature of your subclass, this is really good.
I think it definitely leads to that fantasy of, as a high-level character, you're able to go in just yourself. If you need to, you can go in, fuck shit up. Whether you get out or not.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, even if
hopefully
you don't
run away.
But I feel like there are a lot of other subclasses and classes in general that high-level fantasy doesn't really come into effect. And I would think most of the other sorcerer subclasses don't give you the same feel. I think this is actually a really great high-level set of abilities.
Most of the sorcerer subclasses to me are a little lacking toward later levels.
Yeah.
My favorite one is... I love this one, mainly because of the versatility aspect.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Divine Soul is still my favorite sorcerer subclass, but it's like, you're kind of getting everything up front. You're not really gaining as you go, you're just choosing more spells.
This subclass is one of the few subclasses in D&D where at every single level there is no dud feature.
Correct.
Yeah. All of these features are phenomenal, and I would argue that this rivals the Divine Soul. I think this, if this were to be put on a tier list, if played correctly, this is an S tier subclass in my mind. This is awesome, and it's not overpowered awesome.
Yeah,
it's powerful, but not to the point of breaking the core design behind D&D. Ultimately, love this subclass. I would be with some rules clarifications of some weird interactions. I think this could be good, like as written.
Yeah,
I'd say a lot of clarification. I'm sure with that clarification, the things like that lunar phenomenon would be you get one of them, and then you can use the sorcery points.
Probably,
which even that's pretty well balanced.
5 sorcery points for those effects.
For multiple effects is pretty worth it.
All is a bonus action, which as a sorcerer, plus, you don't have a lot to do with.
You have your regular spell slot that you can now dump because you get 5 free spells anyway. So you can dump one of those spells. Yeah. You can dump that 1 5th level spell slot and use it again.
Yeah. Yeah. All the features synergize together really well and build off of each other. This is a great subclass.
I always like to look and see, which subclass did the writer really, really enjoy writing? And we can always identify the ones that it's just like, okay, we need that. This is one that somebody loved. This is
for sure.
Yeah.
Next. 4 elements. Wave 4 elements had so much
The
potential.
Ranger.
The Ranger, generally.
I like the Hunter subclass for the Ranger.
Hunter's
Hunter's about the only subclass I would ever want to play.
I think
there's some Xanathar's ones that are good. Gloomstalker's good. Horizon Walker's good. Hunter, I think, is good.
We were talking about we were talking about the Hunter or the Hunter Ranger last time we played, I think, and I kind of like came to the conclusion that the Hunter subclass could be broken up into the main Ranger class, and it would just kind of take it to the Ranger being a little more of that fantasy Ranger.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be a subclass as much as it just needed to be there.
It just needed to be the class.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We're getting sidetracked.
To the backgrounds.
There's 2 here. Both of them are from the Dragonlance setting. We're not going to go too deep into these because, again, they are backgrounds. And the interesting part about them is the feat, which we'll get to in the feat section. The Knight of Solamnia. You are a warrior who's a knight. of one of the kingdoms of Dragonlance. You get athletics, survival, musical instrument, language of your choice, insignia of rank, deck of cards, common clothes, pouch, blah, 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 10 gold pieces. The feature is the Squire of Solamnia, which gives you the feature, Squire of Solamnia, later in the document. You also get free modest lodging and food at any fortress of the Knights of Solamnia or their encampments.
It's similar to the the soldier subclass from the PHP, but more direct,
more specific, and they give you some cues on how to incorporate this into a character and make it more part of the world of Dragonlance. It gives you a little D6 trinket table, which, as we discussed,
love a trinket.
Trinkets table are great.
Love a trinket table.
Love a trinket.
Love a trinket. Next you have the Mage of High Sorcery.
You're a mage.
You're a mage.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Good job. You did it.
Yeah,
you got there.
You can be one of the orders, the Order of the White Robe, Order of the Red Robe, Order of the Black, Dragonlance-y stuff that we don't get. You get proficiency in Arcana and History. You get 2 languages of your choice. You get a bottle of colored ink, an ink pen, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold pieces. The feat, Initiate of High Sorcery. You gain the Initiate of High Sorcery feat in the feat section. In addition, the mages will provide you with free modest food or lodging at any of their towers of high sorcery for 1 night at the home, or 1 night at the home of an organization member. And they also have some trinkets and some personality traits and how to incorporate it into the world and blah blah blah, all that stuff.
All that fun stuff. Yeah.
Their backgrounds. The more interesting part in the feats section. These are listed in alphabetical order, but we're going to go out of order here. There's a mechanic with these feats that they have not done in D&D 5th edition yet, which is there are 3 feats that are base tier feats, and then, 7 feats that you can take, that you have to have one of the base tier feats
something to
take
move from
later.
3.5.
Yes. The easiest one is Divinely Favored and Divine Communication.
Yes.
Divine Communications.
Divinely Favored is first.
Divinely Favored, you learn Thaumaturgy and 1 first-level spell based on the alignment of your character as specified in the alignment spells table, which they get to later. You can cast the chosen first-level spell without a spell slot, and you can finish a long rest before you can do it again. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have. Your spellcasting ability for this feat spell is Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. You choose it when you take the feat. In addition, you can use a holy symbol as a spellcasting focus for any spell that you cast that uses a spellcasting focus ability you choose when you select this feat. If you're evil, you can get a warlock or wizard spell. If you're good, you can get a cleric or wizard spell. If you are neutral, you can get a druid or wizard spell.
I wish they had a lawful and chaotic in there, personally, but...
I mean, it is what it is. But the main part of that, you get Thaumaturgy and you get a first level spell for free. A lesser magic initiate. But...
Or a lesser touched
spell.
Shadow or Fey touched.
Yes.
Yeah, because those do second and first as opposed to first.
Yes. Now, these feats are also implied that obviously you're getting... There's not a background that is associated with Divinely Favored. If this book were to come out in the Dragonlance setting, I assume that one of those backgrounds would exist. And these are implied that you get them at character creation and not as a variant human or an ASI.
Yeah.
So these are just
kind of... probably take them later, but it would be very much a
story.
drop-in useful, or it'd be a gifted feat from the DM, not a...
Yeah. Now, the Divine Communications requires you to be 4th level, so you cannot take it at level 1 as a variant human if you get this from if you get Divinely Favored from your background. Yeah. You get an ability score increase of your choice. That is the same as the ability score that you selected when you got the Divinely Favored feat, so it would be Wisdom, Intelligence, or Charisma. Celestial Tongues, you learn to speak, read, and write Celestial in 2 other languages of your choice. You can also cast Augury and Commune without using a spell slot. You must finish 1d4 long rests before you can cast it again in this way. You can also cast the spell using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. Your spellcasting ability is the one chosen for the Divinely Favored feat. So these pair of feats, not super powerful. They're going to be very thematic for the world of Dragonlance. A free floating +1 on your first ASI and some free spells is nice. Yeah, an extra couple languages is fine. I think these are like the lesser. There's also less customizability than the other ones. But
I also do find it interesting that you must complete 1d4 long rests before you can cast them for free again.
I know, right?
That's seems a little arbitrary, but maybe there's a lore reason that we don't know, that we don't see here.
Because we are decidedly...
normally it would just say something like 1d4 days.
Yeah.
In most books, so I'm confused as to why it's 1d4 long rests.
Why is it not just a long rest?
That too.
They like Augury and Commune.
Augury is one that I could see it being just like finish a long rest. Commune could be a little trickier.
I mean,
if you're playing with it right.
I mean, sneak peek here for our blood magic supplement that we'll be releasing in about a month. One of the subclasses is a sorcerer subclass, and you basically get to cast scrying for free once a day. And I think that's fine. And scrying is a lot more powerful than Commune, I would think. You know what I mean? Dependent. I think it should just be and long rest.
A singular long rest.
And singular long rest. Moving on, though.
Moving on.
Initiate of High Sorcery. You get this from the Apprentice of High Sorcery background. You can choose one of the 3 moons of Krynn, each of which is associated with a distinct type of magic. The Black Moon. I'm not even going to try to fucking read these names. The Black Moon, the Red Moon, and the White Moon. Nuitari. I said I wasn't going to, but Nuitari. Lunatari. And Solanari. You learn 1 cantrip and 1 first level spell based on the moon you have chosen, as specified in the Lunar Spells table. You can cast the chosen first level spell without using a spell slot. You finish a long rest when you can do it again. You can cast it using spell slots, blah, blah, blah. And your spellcasting ability modifier is chosen when you take the feat Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. For Nuitari, you can choose from Chill Touch, Mage Hand, and Vicious Mockery. And then for the first level spells, it can be any evocation or necromancy spell from the wizard spell list. For Lunatari, you can choose from guidance, message, or prestidigitation, and any first level wizard spell from divination or transmutation. And for Solanari, you can choose produce flame, resistance, and spare the dying. You can choose one of those, or any first level wizard spell from the abjuration or conjuration school of magic. This goes quite... This. Synergy. Lunar Magic Sorcerer is going to love this.
Yeah?
You're going to want this background as a Lunar Magic Sorcerer.
Dragonlance. Dragons and moons.
Yes. Another...
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Another free floating first level spell that you can get once a day. I think Lunatari is the one that stands out here. Divination and transmutation spells for first level are kind of mid-tier, but
taken either of the other 2.
Really, I think getting guidance, message, or prestidigitation as cantrips are, especially if you were supposedly this Lunar Magic Sorcerer from this. Being able to get guidance, which is a spell that you wouldn't normally have on your list, and you're getting Sacred Flame, and then all of your normal sorcerer cantrips, which already get more cantrips than a wizard or a warlock, or I think any other spellcasting class. Like you can be a cantrip master with a Lunar Magic Sorcerer with this background.
See, I would probably personally go with Nutari. The which one was that? The Red Moon?
Yeah.
Black Moon. Yeah.
Vicious Mockery, Mage Hand, Chill Touch, and Evocation or
Vicious Mockery, which isn't normal on your spell list.
Yep.
If it succeeds, they have disadvantage on their next attack. Always a good thing to throw out at any point that you need to. And then I'm a big fan of, if you have any necromancy spell, False Life. False Life as a low-level sorcerer.
Yeah.
And then if I decide to later, cast it at a higher level. I think any kind of free False Life where you're going to get that, or anything that you're going to get those free extra hit points, especially at a low level, those would add up real quick.
And I'll take Solanari. To be different.
I think Solanari definitely has the better first level spell options.
The abjuration or conjuration.
I think that...
Free Find Familiar.
I think Lunatari has better cantrip options, and I think Nuitari is kind of the middle ground between the 2.
I think they're all viable choices.
Yeah.
You can easily work with any of them.
Now, you get 3 options for feats that you can take later at level 4. You have to already have the Initiate of High Sorcery feats. These are associated with the 3 classes of High Sorcery in Dragonlance. They are Adept of the Black Robes, Adept of the Red Robes, and Adept of the White Robes. They are all fairly similar in their execution. Adept of the Red Robes, you have to be recognized by the Order of the Red Robes, blah, blah, blah. Insightful Magic, you learn one second-level spell of your choice. It must be Divination or Transmutation. You can cast it once without a spell slot until you finish a long rest. You can use a spell slot to cast it later. The spellcasting ability is the same that you chose for the Initiate of High Sorcery.
We really need a way to shorten that.
Yeah. Magical Balance. When you make an attack roll, an ability check, or saving throw, roll a 9 or lower on the d20, you can use your reaction to balance fate and treat the roll as a 10. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Divination Wizard with this stuff.
Yeah.
Lucian would not mind that at all. I mean,
because it uses actually, it's a better version of the reliable talent ability the rogue gets.
Yep.
Because that automatically becomes a 9, not a 10.
I think it.
But the rogue also gets it every time they roll with one of those abilities.
Yes,
and this is proficiency bonus.
This is limited to by level 4. That would be minimum 3, up to 6.
2. You get 3 at 5. 3 at level 5.
Yeah. So minimum 2 when you take it, and then later on 3, 4, 5, and then 6 times a day. I mean, this is
to just be like, never mind. I'm good here.
Yeah. Next, the Adept of White Robes. Same feature as before, second level spell of Conjuration or Abjuration. You can cast it once a day, regain on long rest. You can use your spell slots, same ability modifier, blah, blah, blah. Protective Ward. When you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to expend a spell slot and weave protective magic around the target. Roll a number of d4s equal to the level of the spell slot expended and reduce the damage the target takes by the total roll on those dice plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Yeah.
So usually at that point you're either going to have a plus-ish 4 probably.
Yeah.
3, 4. So a d4 plus 4.
Yeah, a d4 per level of the spell slot that you choose to expend. Yeah. Stepping on the toes a little bit of the Abjuration Wizard, but at the same time...
War Wizard.
Or the War Wizard as well.
But those, I believe, are only yourself.
Yeah. They're different.
This is your actual companions.
This is definitely more for the team player caster as opposed to the blaster caster, if you will.
Yes.
And finally, the Adept of Black Robes. I did these slightly out of order.
Yeah, you did, but that's fine.
Ambitious Magic, which is Evocation and Necromancy, second level spell, regain on a long rest, use it once per day for free, blah, 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 blah.
Just take False Life again at second level. You have 2 free casts of False Life. That's a lot of free health as a sorcerer.
It has to be a second level spell of your choice. False Life is the first level.
Take False Life.
Just to sidetrack a tiny bit with that, what you said.
Sure.
How do you guys feel that works? Do you say that it has to be a spell of that level, or would you say it can be a spell that has an upcast?
I feel like the design of it is you're taking a spell of that level, because different levels of spells have different kinds of power creeps with them and different things that they are better at. Like you get to a different tier of play when you gain access to a new level of spell casting. That's
kind of why I think I personally prefer it to be like you can take any spell that would scale, strictly because it's like, okay, they're still having the same power scaling. You're not gaining anything actually much more than what you had.
Yeah.
So it would still be, okay, I just have this spell, it's just a higher level now. So it'd be, okay, I'm casting Magic Missile, I have the 3. Okay, now I get 4.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that much of a change, so it's 44, or I can cast Acid Arrow, which is 44.
Now, that is true for a lot of cases, but there are outliers for that. I think generally, when you get to a higher level of spell, most of the damage that most of the damaging spells of the next higher level up are going to be doing more damage than a first level spell upcast. Or
correct.
Whatever.
Which is why I kind of would say it's just, if that's what you want to do,
it's
do it, but it's not going to be the most practical. That's why I would say something like false life.
You would be the one to take false life twice, though.
I'm sorry, 2 free casts of false life? Absolutely. I will take my extra hit points every chance I get.
The special ability that you get with this one, you can channel your life force into the power of your magic. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of you fails on a saving throw against a spell you cast, Sam, you can expend a number of hit dice equal to the level of the spell. You roll a number of hit dice equal to half the number of hit dice expended, rounded up, and the damage the triggering creature takes increases by an amount equal to the total rolled of those dice. Sam, what have I been saying about the fucking hit dice?
Yes, for those of you who are unaware, Connor is very into using your hit dice more because they're an underutilized resource.
They are very underutilized. Very, very underutilized. Our entire blood magic supplement is based on the idea that hit dice need to be more useful. And so blood magic fueled by hit dice. There you go. Look forward to that in the next month.
I do find it I think they maybe complicated a little. But
it's a bit clunky.
It's a bit clunky that you expend a number of hit dice, you roll half of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have just said...
It's always got to be an even number.
Yeah, well, you round up. But so you expend 4, you roll 2.
I think their point with that is when you get to a higher level that you're not expending 15 hit dice to deal 15d6 extra damage on someone.
You just capped it though instead.
I agree. They could cap it based on level.
There are less clunky ways to do it.
Yeah. It has to equal your proficiency modifier or proficiency.
No more than
exactly. That'd be a great one.
That'd be a great way to do that.
That's how they've balanced a lot of those things.
Yeah.
It has to be your proficiency bonus.
I agree. I think it'd be a lot easier. You can expend a number of hit dice up to your proficiency bonus number of hit dice. Roll them, and then they take extra damage.
Yeah. Wizards of the Coast, hire us.
Hire us.
Don't do that.
We'll fix your writing.
I'm fairly confident. I am fairly confident that we have a feature that is basically exactly like this, but written better in our supplement. Which, not to toot our own horns, but...
Honk honk.
Honk honk indeed, sir.
You're welcome for one of the spells.
I like... Okay, so
I died for it.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this line of feats.
Okay, yeah.
The Initiate of High Sorcery, I'm a big fan of. Free spells, and then all of these Adept of certain ones. More free spells. You're not getting a floating +1 with these.
Right.
Which is fair, because the features that they are giving you are really, really good. I would say the White Robes are probably the weakest with the Protective Ward, but the Magical Balance of just a flat 10... and the new use for your hit dice are both very, very good. And at 4th level, those can be very potent and will continue to be potent as time goes on.
Yeah. And I could see these being used for classes outside of direct spell, like half-casters or quarter-casters even, making great use of these.
To cut off the comments, it's 1/3 casters.
Shut your face.
We're aware. It is 1/3 casters. He is not a mainstay on the show. Do not worry.
Quartercasters. Get over it.
I see these. So, like you're saying, I like the Initiate. I think is good. These are still all of them. I would encourage my players not to take them at their ASI. Yeah. I would honestly be straight up, like, if they're like, okay, I want to become an Adept of the Black Robes, I'd be like, all right,
2 weeks.
Yeah, wait. You're gonna this mission once you finish it. You'll get it.
I'll give you something for it, and you'll have that feat. Just say you want it, and we'll talk about how you're going to get it.
The design of these feats... Do I want to shelve this for later? No, I don't. Now, the design of this selection of feats, really, I like, because it shows that Wizards of the Coast is moving in the direction of make feats more easy to just fucking deal out to people.
Yeah.
Feats are awesome. They are great. People love them. Taking them on having to choose between a +2 on your ASI and taking a feat is really fucking sucks. And having to be a variant human to get a free feat when you create your character really fucking sucks.
That's why, for the game that I run for you guys, it's level 1, you start with a feat. Just pick one, roll with it from level 1, and it's...
There are a lot of tables that do that because they want feats more freely, and I think this is encouraging DMs to do that by creating feats that are tied to backgrounds. It's an easy way, to wrap your head if you're like, I don't want to give an extra feat on top of everything. Like, no, the feat's just part of the background they take, And then it gives you mechanically, like, you really should be 4th level before you get these upgrades to the feat, but at the same time, it's kind of implying that it's like when you are part of the High Sorcery and as an initiate, and then you find which sect you want to go into and learn and study that, you can just get it.
And those would easily be tied in going through, like, the old ones in PHP. You're a soldier background. Okay, you get the Battlemaster feat. Or the feat that lets you do Battlemaster maneuvers.
Martial Adept, or you get Great Weapon Master, or Crossbow Expert.
Or Dual Wielder, or whichever one that fits what combat style that you would have gone into. Give that feat to that person. It's if they're playing an Elder Knight, throw them Warcaster.
My phone's over there, so I can't add this to my notes app. We can't make a free supplement doing this for you, because the only feat that is in the OGL is Grappler. But make note that we make a YouTube video about this, about the certain backgrounds in the PHB getting a 1st level feat from a certain list thing, and then we can make it available because by we can't put it on DM's Guild or Drive-Thru-RPG because of the OGL, but we can make a fucking YouTube video about it.
Yeah, they can't stop us.
Can't stop us doing shit.
They can, but they
won't. Yeah. Now,
we're promoting their product. Damn it.
Let's wrap this up. There's 4 more feats. First up, the Squire of Solamnia. You get by taking the Knight of Solamnia background. You gain proficiency with medium armor and martial weapons. You have advantage on saving throws made to avoid falling off of a mount. And Encouraging Rally, where when another creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes a saving throw, you can use your reaction to inspire them. If the target can hear you and understand you, it gains advantage on the saving throw. Once you use this reaction, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Mounted combat.
Mounted combat.
I mean, they're knights. It makes sense.
I have had one-shot character I played that had a mounted combat, and it was a halfling cavalier that rode a mastiff.
Yep.
That was my first ever character.
And took the mounted combatant feat, so I could just ride the dog into every combat.
That's pretty sweet.
It was the most ridiculous character I've ever played.
Now...
And that is saying a lot.
Thankfully, they give you features that are going to be useful for any martial class, even if you're not using a mount. Definitely, if you are the Cavalier or a Paladin that's using one of the Summon Steed spells.
Find Steed and Find Greater Steed.
Yep, those will be very good for you. Now, the 3 Knight feats that you can take at 4th level or higher are the Knight of the Crown, the Knight of the Rose, and the Knight of the Sword. The Knight of the Crown, you get an increase to Strength or Dexterity by 1, your choice, up to a maximum of 20. You also get Tactical Teamwork, when a creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an attack roll against another creature that is within 5 feet of you. You can use your reaction to grant advantage on the attack roll. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. A free advantage.
Yeah.
For some allies.
Proficiency bonus?
Yep.
A lot of times? I mean...
It's almost pack tactics, but it's a range pack tactics.
Yes.
Yeah. As long as you're next to the guy.
As long as you're next to the target, you can give it to anyone.
If you're the barbarian, if you're the fighter, if you're the paladin, if you're getting up and you're getting business done, your ranger's gonna like it. Your rogue is gonna like it if they're using bow and arrow.
Rogue's really gonna like it.
Rogue's really gonna like it. All around,
advantage plus that sneak attack, automatic.
Love it. Now, the Knight of the Sword. When you read the first one, you think, oh, well, they're all going to get a +1 to strength or dex. No, you would be wrong.
No, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. The Knight of the Sword.
Really aggressive.
I was going to say, don't...
Knight of the Sword, you gain proficiency in intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throws. Your choice when you take the feat. You also gain willpower. Immediately after you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you fail an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw, you can, expend a hit die. The saving throw increases by an amount equal to a roll of that hit die, potentially turning a failure into a success. Once you turn a failed saving throw into a successful one using this feat, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. Again...
That...
We're using the hit die.
Using the hit
That is one that I would want to throw on every fighter, every barbarian, is I would go to the sword, give them that wisdom save. They need that wisdom. You do not want your barbarian mind controlled. You do not want your fighter mind controlled.
And
even if you have since I'm playing the paladin, I have my charisma and wisdom saves. I'll still take a good intelligence save in case we come up against a mind flayer or something along those lines.
Now, in that example, say you are the fighter or the barbarian. This feat specifies that you can take it when you or a creature within range fails to save.
Yeah.
If you're a fighter,
double that.
If you are a fighter or a barbarian, that is a D10 or a D12 additional to your saving throw, and you're getting proficiency in one of those types of saving throws as well.
Anything that gives you a proficiency in a saving throw as a bonus to something, I'm almost always in for.
Is it reliable in the PHB that gives you proficiency in a saving throw of your choice? Plus Resilient,
yes.
This is
very underpowered in that. This is what that feat should have.
Resilient is good, I would say, for
fighters, and that's about it.
For fighters or spellcasters that take Constitution to round it up, and they get proficiency for concentration checks.
That's one of those that I would definitely say for trained feats or gifted feats. That would be a trained or a gifted feat to me more than anything else.
For sure, but that willpower ability is chonky, especially on the type of classes that are going to be taking these feats because of their background. They're going to have big hit die. They're going to be getting a lot of big bonuses thrown around, and it gives them a use for their hit die. This is great.
I would like to point out the last sentence of there, which is not something we see too often, and that's only once you've turned a failed saving throw into a success can you not use this feature. It sucks to use a feature and just have it just fail.
Still fail.
Yeah. Still fail.
You
have your level amount of times to attempt this.
Yes, exactly. This is
the only thing there would just be, okay, if you guys got to take a short rest, you better be careful that you saved some of those if you're in major combat. That's my only thing with not wanting to use hit dice for a lot of things is I'm afraid, okay, we're in a big combat right now. We need to take a short rest before the next thing. I have 2 hit dice left and 7 hit points.
Oh, yeah.
You got to find that balance of where you're comfortable with it. If your party doesn't have a healer, you got to figure out where that balance is in.
It gives a lot of great options, and I love it. The last one, Knight of the Rose. You get a +1 to either Constitution or Charisma. Interesting, to a maximum of 20. And Bolstering Rally. When you roll initiative, you can choose up to 3 other creatures you can see within 30 of you. That's how it says. That's what it says. 30 of you.
30 of you.
I assume they are meaning 30 feet.
Well, I don't know, because my character
It just says 30.
My character is 7 feet tall, so is it, like, do I get his whole length 30 times? Because then I can affect anyone.
Exactly.
10 feet.
Yeah.
I'll take that range for initiative bumps.
We'll say within 30 feet of you. Each creature can gain temporary hit points equal to a roll of your hit die plus your proficiency bonus plus the ability modifier of the ability score increased by this feat, so either Constitution or Charisma. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
I want that one.
This is kind of like Inspiring Leader.
A little bit.
Almost.
It's a bit of a lesser Inspiring Leader that you take when you're rolling initiative, and not sadly it's temporary hit points.
I'm a big fan of the roll initiative. Here's a bump to something.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of that. So.
Sadly, this won't stack with Inspiring Leader because they're both temporary hit points, and temporary hit point sources don't stack. But this, if you were thinking I might want to take Inspiring Leader and you're using this background, you're using this, like you can just get this.
You don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah, especially being 4th level, roll of your hit die, your proficiency bonus, and your ability modifier.
You're rounding up a Constitution or a Charisma. Always a good time.
Especially, this one would be great for paladins.
Great for a paladin.
This would paladin over probably any of the other classes for this one, specifically for that bump. Because you're already going to want that higher... You're not going to have a super high charisma, but you're going to have that higher charisma bonus.
Now, you can use your Constitution modifier for the temporary hit points if you took Constitution. So a fighter and a barbarian still would be able to benefit from this a lot more than they would be able to benefit from Inspiring Leader.
Correct.
As well. I think the Solamnia Squire to the Knight feats are my favorite ones.
Major bump from the caster ones.
The caster ones are good. The caster ones are kind of samey, and they do get in interesting features for each that are powerful. I think these are going to fundamentally change how you play your martial class.
Absolutely.
Which is it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite UAs that has come out in quite a while, I would say. I mean, the Kender, whatever. But
Kender is definitely a roleplay race more than it is anything else.
It's very, very neat. But the feats, the background options, and the Lunar Magic Sorcerer are all great. And I love that this is showing the direction that Wizards is taking. And it's kind of what a lot of D&D players are wanting. Or just
already doing it.
Or already doing on their own. And I love that. And if this is the direction that they're heading, I'm very, very excited for an eventual 5.5.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
I would say, in a similar but kind of opposite vein when it goes towards the spellcaster feats, I just do hope that this isn't the only type of thing we see from spellcaster feats. Not just more versions of Fey and Shadow Touched.
Yeah.
We give spells make casters very diverse, but still having to spend your spell slots to do all your neat things can get a little exhausting. Give them some other neat features. That's all I'm asking.
You do get a couple of them, but they're a bit underwhelming. Some of them can be a bit underwhelming. Yeah. The flat 10 when you fail a roll is cool. Being able to use hit dice to increase damage of a spell is cool.
The temp HP.
It's all good. It's all good. And I do like that it's all free casts of the bonus spells.
Everything in this UA compared to a lot of other ones, I don't feel like there was anything bad in this one.
Absolutely.
There are a few of the UAs that you read that you're like, okay,
that's bad.
Who chose that?
Yeah, who would
if
take
I was in this world, why would I take that as my choice?
Yeah.
This one is one of the few that I'm like, I would probably play something with everything in this.
Yeah.
At some point.
For sure.
Right now.
Roll initiative.
No, I got a thing to do.
Now, last thing I'll say. The eventual Dragonlance campaign setting that's going to come with this. I wasn't really that hyped on getting it, but if this is the design philosophy that they're going for, I already am. As I've said on a previous podcast, my brother and father have been hounding me to read some of the Dragonlance books for my entire life. Fizban's Treasury of Dragons has a lot of references to Dragonlance. This UA is clearly showing that they're going to make a good. I think they're going to make a really good Dragonlance campaign setting. If you're into that, if you're into Dragonlance, this is going to be really good shit for you. If you're not into Dragonlance, this is still going to be some really good shit for you. And I think it's going to be a great campaign setting. I have very high hopes, and I cannot wait for it to come out. Now, Darren, you've never listened to the podcast, so what's our last segment? Questions from the audience.
Answers.
Comments.
No, we don't actually answer any of them.
No, we just read the questions.
I know the two of you. We aren't answering anything. We're just going to read them and stare at the screen for them.
We take questions, comments, and concerns from the audience on the TikTok Live, from the Twitterverse, and from the Discord.
And if you mailed a letter to the moon.
If you mailed a letter to the moon, it would take 3 to 5 weeks to get to us. But
plus, we only record every 2 weeks.
The timing of it might not work out. You will read your question in 2 months, basically.
Yes.
Is what we're getting at. Now, Sam.
Yes.
Something great has happened.
Yes, it did.
We are 11 episodes in, and we say, ask us questions on the Discord, and guess what?
Finally.
Someone fucking asked a question on the Discord, man.
Do you remember who it was?
Is it
I do. It is DK Alexander.
DK Alexander, shout outs to you.
And this is a good just all around question, and I think it's great because we got Darren here.
That's a sentence I never said before.
I know.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say that's no one said.
He gets 3 answers.
He gets 3 answers.
This is from DK Alexander. He's still going through the backlog of podcasts. At this point, he's put in the Discord general chat that he has listened to all 10 of the previous podcasts. Love you, DK Alexander.
You're ahead of me, buddy.
By a lot. His question is, have you talked about D&D or Nerd Origins for the three of us?
We have not.
We have not. Now, my origins for nerddom were I was born.
Yeah.
I got very into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! At a young age. The television programs on Cartoon Network. 4 kids. I know. Heartbreak.
Oh, no, I'm just salty. My mom threw away all my Yu-Gi-Oh! cards.
Same, bro.
Well, actually, I'm so salty about it. I know I had some in there that are worth a couple $100 each, and I was still
I've gone through my Yu-Gi-Oh! Card collection and my Pokemon card collection. I got a couple gems that are over $20, but nothing like massive.
I had 3 special edition of Barrel Dragon.
Nice. That's heartbreaking.
That was a painful day.
So at a young age, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! When I got to about middle school, I started to get into Naruto and other animes. Currently, Sam and I are watching Attack on Titan for the first time. Mm-hmm. Well, I got about halfway through season 2 when it came out, but we're in season 3. It's good. It's good shit. Highly recommend. By the time I get to high school, all of those we're getting into. I'm a big Lord of the Rings nerd. I get into like some musical theater shit, and I first start to become aware of the Dungeons and Dragons. Now, what got me interested in playing Dungeons and Dragons is this lovely YouTube channel, Corridor Digital. They had a secondary channel for gaming content called Node, where they did these really nice, well-made, like 30-minute to 1-hour videos of a single adventure for D&D. Yeah. And they had all this beautiful Dwarven Forge set up on a massive table. They would get their GoPros out, and they had like these wide fish angle, and they'd get right in there, and they'd add graphics like, I attack and I dealt 5 damage, and then it would show close up the minis, and then like a little like blood slash and a -5 HP. Like it was, the production value of it was really, really high. Videos didn't do well, so they stopped
pretty quick. They only made what, 10?
They made a cut. They had their Call of the Wild run. They had a Pokemon run. They had like a high school like party thing that was cool. They had a couple little one-offs, but it was really like 3 or 4 main ones that they did. But now not Critical Role. Now Corridor Digital is doing a new D&D show, which has a much higher production value, if you can even imagine that. They're like 3D scanning their environments and green screening themselves, cosplaying as their characters after the game. Like, it's
interesting.
Yeah, they have it on their Corridor Digital like premium website. I haven't watched it, but from what I've seen on YouTube, it looks really cool. That got me interested in D&D, and then I found Critical Role by watching Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, Tim Geddes, and Nick Scarpino on the Game Over Greggy podcast. Those are all from IGN, very big podcasters. Their home podcast, the Game Over Greggy podcast, they had on Critical Role around the end of Campaign 1 and before Campaign 2 started, and they had on Travis and Laura and Sam and Matt Mercer. And they ran over the course of the podcast just like a one-shot thing. There was like 9 players or 8 players. 8 players. It is also the first time that the world ever encountered Jester Lavore. Laura Bailey first played Jester on that podcast. That is what made me aware of Critical Role. And then shortly after that, Critical Role Campaign 2 started, and I got into that. And I was looking for people that wanted to play D&D and were able to play D&D. And when I graduated college, I found some friends that I could play D&D with. And then I found Sam, who plays D&D. And through Sam, I've met Darren. And those are my nerd and D&D origins.
All right. Mine. Very similar in the beginning. 4 kids, TV. Lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! Lots of Pokemon. Love Digimon.
Oh, love Digimon.
Love Digimon. My mother made me sell my Pokemon Digimon Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards at a garage sale.
Oh, fuck.
I don't think I had anything valuable, but it still sucks.
That really sucks.
Oh, yeah, it still hurts.
Yeah.
But, when I got into high school, my high school girlfriend, the first thing we did as a couple, for our dates, would be to just watch through all the Miyazaki films.
That's good stuff.
As long as you're skipping Grave of the Firefly, I don't feel like crying.
That's heartbreaking.
It's a great movie, but I just don't want to cry.
By the way, my favorite, Princess Mononoke. Big fan of that one. Love that one.
But yeah, and then
Howl's Moving Castle, very close.
Howl's Moving Castle.
That's really good.
But my
in the Valley of the Wind.
No.
Really?
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away.
Classic. We're getting sidetracked here.
But
I said Miyazaki, okay?
it happens.
My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh. But yeah,
That was sad too.
more of my stuff more focused. I came in it through video games mostly. Like I've owned a huge number of like Yu-Gi-Oh video games. I love the Gears of War series and Assassin's Creed.
I played a lot of Naruto fighting games and of course Kingdom Hearts.
Those two.
Love Kingdom Hearts.
But yeah, and then fast forward to college. We fast forward to college. I was home for winter break one year, and our buddy Salem was like, "Hey, another guy we know from high school wants to run some D&D for us." I'm like, "I've never played. I have no idea what's going on." It's like, "That's okay. I don't."
Welcome to D&D.
That's how we introduce people now.
To everyone's session 1.
And the first game, which was supposed to be some sort of early campaign, turned into a one-shot because the DM disappeared into the world of Ohio State University.
Yeah.
But was a highly homebrewed version of 2nd edition of AD&D called Inclinations of the Flame Princess.
I mean, dope name.
That is a really cool name, but right on.
Right. It's very, 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 very different than 3.5 or 5e.
Yes.
There's a reason 5e is the most popular D&D by number of people playing.
Anyway, fast forward. Since that ended, I really, really still wanted to play this, so I kept bugging Salem, who was a creative writing college major, and being like, "Hey, yeah. I'm like, hey, you should DM. You should run the game because you're creative." He never wanted to do it. So eventually I was like, fine, I'll do it. I looked up how to DM D&D, and I found Matt Colville.
The illustrious Matt Colville.
The illustrious Matt Colville, creator of the company MCDM. I've been on the Kickstarter of both their books. I've watched so much. He has a Running the Game series that is fantastic. A lot of my game creation theory comes from him and his YouTube channel. Eventually, campaigns came and campaigns went. I've DM'd for far longer than I've been a player. And now, as a 27-year-old man, I have a lot of D&D in my life, and it's great.
It is great. I will say I learned how to play D&D from a wonderful YouTube channel called Don't Stop Talking. It's this guy. He does a lot of somewhat crude animation, but the quality of the content and the explanation of how to play, like how to create a character, what is an attack roll, what is a saving throw, how does that work, and showing examples really helped me learn how to play. And Darren,
what about you?
Pretty much the same start, but just going a little later. So it was more video games until early 20s.
I mean, we're all still gamers here.
I was but it's never really played anything tabletop until I think I was 21, 22. And my first game was, I got a call from my friend, and he literally just said, "Hey, someone dropped out, come to this address." It's like, I don't think I trust this, but okay, here we go.
Might as well.
So I went with Justin to my first session, which was a 4-part homebrewed game, and they dropped me into section 4 as a 8th level rogue in 3.5. Which, I'm not sure, I know neither of you have played 3.5, right?
It's very easy to create a character from what I hear.
That's something. And the person who created that character could not write to save their life. I could not read a single thing on that page, so I literally just looked at the DM and said things and hoped it was right. Because it would be, okay, I roll. That looks like a 7? So I guess it's a 15, I think? I'm not really sure what happens. We accidentally created flashbangs because me and one of the other guys were fucking around. Jenkins.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Jenkins was playing a barbarian who was best friends with this rogue before I showed up. So we had gotten orbs that created light. They were just orbs that were torches. And everyone else was trying to make a plan and not really wanting to talk through things. Yeah. So him and I were just like, we're going to see how long this hallway is. And I hand him one of the orbs and say, throw it. He does so, and it's, okay, make a Constitution saving throw. Or at that point, it was a Fortitude save.
Yeah.
We both failed. Okay, you're blinded for a minute. Both of us in character, blinded, turn and look at each other. We have a whole box of flashbangs sitting over there. And the DM just looks at us, wait, no. It's like, no, you made the precedent. This is a thing now.
Set the precedent, for sure.
So after that one shot, I got invited to join that game. We played I think we hit level 12 before we stopped playing at 3.5 and went to 5e before I left that group.
Yeah.
But the characters that I had in 3.5 were just... The numbers you get in 3.5 are ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why there are some things about it I prefer, but for the most part, I like 5e better. Mm-hmm. But it's like... I think the character I had at the end, I had a plus 26 to any animal handling check.
If you are a min-maxer, shout out to the Min-Max Munchkin on YouTube. 3.5 is your shit.
Oh, it's great.
I was going to say 3.5 I've heard described as the addition of, oh, that hit? Wait, I have more modifiers to my defense. Or, oh, that missed? Hold on, I have more modifiers to my attack.
I think I have a picture of my character sheet somewhere. I will post in the Discord if I can find it.
He'll post in the Discord.
Join the Discord.
Yeah.
I think at the end, I had 3 separate boxes for attacks because it was a 2-up and fighting ranger when 2-up and fighting was better.
Yeah.
But it was, you gained the modifier, and then lost a number from that, then added your strength, then added your proficiencies. Because it was your level 2 attack minus the dual wielding modifier, which based on the weapon was either a -2 or a -4, plus your strength, plus this other number.
Sure.
So my full round attack, which means I could do every attack in my arsenal, was like, you have a plus 16, plus 14, plus 8, plus 9, plus 7, plus 3 to do 1 round of full attacks. Which means you're not moving anywhere, you are just attacking.
Well then. Sam.
Yes.
Do we have any comments in the TikTok live?
We do.
Oh my god.
Alright, first off we have yawn.
Same.
Appropriate.
Sean asks...
Sean.
Where are they located? I assume you mean us.
Earth.
Correct.
We are in the greater Cincinnati area. Cincinnati, Ohio. Currently in Kentucky. But the greater Cincinnati area.
Next we have Edward the Slayer. Edward the Slayer says, hi.
Hello, Edward the Slayer.
Hi, Edward.
You're probably not still here.
Probably not. That was pretty early on. And now we have quite a few from My Muck.
My Muck.
I will try to get them all. It seems My Muck is asking our advice and has a little background. So My Muck says, my group is a little annoyed by my character. I need to get one of them to become loyal to me. Help! A over-the-top behaving halfling, but loyal and true and brave. The others, elf druid, dwarf monch.
Do love a good dwarf monch.
Half-elf warlock. All pretty serious. Never taking my always right halfling serious because she's often childish.
So, great way to get other players and characters to like your player character. You gotta let your character kind of drop the facade for a bit. Have a nice role play moment. Maybe some upset. Maybe some like deep opening up about their past and their backstory.
Find where the character would be at that serious point, because as we all know, we all have what we'll say and do every day, all the time, but we all have that one point where it just drops, and this is the line. This is the bottom line, the end. Find that point, find a way to bring it into that storyline so they know, hey, this is the problem.
Maybe the reason your halfling is acting a bit childish is as a defense mechanism for some trauma that may have happened in their backstory, and trying to open up about that could put it in a different light for your fellow party members.
My Muck made an update. It's not a dwarf monch, it's a dwarf monk.
That's less fun.
I prefer munch.
I'm going to give the opposite
Munch
advice.
sounds like they bite people instead of punch them.
That's a whole different build. I'm going to actually give some opposite direction advice to you two, the two of you. Talk to them out of game.
That is all. Yeah.
Be like, hey,
Yeah.
go to one of them, go to all of them, go to your DM and be like, hey, I want to be a contributing member of this group. I want to be, I'm playing I'm playing the character I want to play, but I don't want to be, just ignored at every point.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're playing a childish character doesn't mean that, like you said, they are often right. Always is a strong word. Only Sith work in absolutes. But yeah,
As a Jedi said it.
Dun 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 dun.
There's
dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that's it. We've brought this up when people talk about issues they're having at their table, of like big issues of somebody's being a jerk to the rest of the group, or somebody's being disruptive at the table. It's communication with your table.
Communication outside of game in real life helps solve a lot of problems. All right. Anything else?
Yes, one more from B4RT _117. I'm going to assume it's Bart.
Bort.
Sure.
Yeah.
117. How did you guys meet? Generally, nerds are hard to meet because we're all introverts. Crying, laughing face.
Well,
They were roommates.
And
He was my bartender.
and they were roommates.
That's really... I met him on a disastrous
there's a bit-
bar crawl, and that's about all we got.
So I am the link here. I am the common link, actually. Because
you're common, all right.
Oh. Anyway, so Connor and I met through dance.
Yes.
There's a local swing dance group that I was going to for about a year and a half, and then you joined one of your friends for a birthday party there.
Yes.
And we got to talking through a mutual friend.
Mm-hmm. And over several weeks of slowly being like, oh, I know who you are. And at some point, someone brought up D&D.
Yeah.
And that was like
It was all downhill from there.
Wait a minute.
And now here we are, years later, living together, talking about D&D, starting a business, apparently.
And then
as all male friends must do, start a business together.
And then like Darren mentioned, he and I met on a bar crawl where we kind of talked about this bit.
I was going to say, top of the podcast, the girl that we both dated had a mental breakdown in the middle of it.
And so we ended up sitting in a loud nightclub, holding on to beers, just being like, I guess this is what's happening now.
They just kind of got up and walked away without saying a word after we came back with drinks, so we just sat down and like, are we holding the table? Are we supposed to follow them? Like, what are we doing here?
But yeah, I was bartending at the time, so a couple days later, he comes into the bar and he's like, I'm meeting people here later. I'm like, cool, here's a beer. And then, like...
As a bartender often does.
And I think you, like, went up to meet with your friends and came down, like, an hour later, like, I'm done with them. I'm like, cool, I'm getting off. You want to go hang out somewhere?
I think that is how that was actually with that first D&D group.
Oh, right.
That was
a
meeting with that first D&D group for one of their birthdays, and I think I was just like, yeah, I'm done handling whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'm a go.
Yeah. And then, at the beginning, or end of last year... Was it the end of last year we started our campaign? Or was it the beginning of last year?
Beginning of last year.
Towards the beginning of 2021, we were all sick and tired of COVID, and it was lightening up, and we're like, you know what, we're all fine to meet in person. We were already living together.
Yeah.
And you literally, we were talking to your girlfriend, and you looked at me, and we were talking about D&D, and you looked at me and like, man, I wish somebody would, start a campaign and said I could be in, and I was like, okay, make a character. And I immediately texted him. I was like, okay.
30 minutes.
It was like same day.
Yeah.
Like,
30 minutes
like,
later,
hey,
my divination wizard was built.
Are we playing a game or not? It's like, I mean, I can write something. I can get something together. I got a couple characters in mind.
And then that character
and then he died. And gave you your best spell, thank you.
The spell was going to be made. I just named it after him.
Exactly. So
and it's not my...
And you used my blood.
Gihren's Gigawatt Blade is not my best spell.
You also named the group after Gihren.
Did I?
Avern
Wilds.
Oh, fuck, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which is going to be real interesting, since they're still alive on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah, I don't care.
So they're gonna show up and be like, what the fuck is this?
My best spell is Hypnotic Pattern, followed closely by Lightning Bolt.
Disagree.
Okay.
Anyway, we have one more comment. My Muck has jumped back into our chat and said, by the way, Monch is the German word for monk.
There you go.
There happened my mistake.
Full circle.
See, actually, I think that is very cool.
That tracks.
That is very cool. We appreciate you teaching us something today.
Yes.
We will forget within the hour.
Within the 10 minutes.
I will internalize this because it's a fun word to say.
Very good. Now, that is it for episode 11.
That is it for episode 11
of the Dungeon Bros podcast. You can probably know us from the TikTok. We have almost 16,000 followers at this point. We might have more than that by the time this posts. You can follow us there. In the link tree of that bio, as well as all of our other bios. If you are listening on a podcast service of your choice, I'm sorry. There are no links. We cannot do that.
Go to one of our other socials we're about to mention,
yes,
and go to the link there.
Yes, you can follow us. You can subscribe to us on the YouTubes, Dungeon Bros YT. We're starting to make some new YouTube exclusive content of our very own, including shorts. Yes. We have some shorts that are exclusive to the YouTube right now. You can follow us again on the TikTok, where almost 16,000 of you already do. We appreciate you very much. You can follow us on Twitter at Dungeon Bros YT. You can join the Discord. An invite link is in the link tree in the bio of pretty much all of our social medias. You can also get our free monthly homebrew on RollVsEvil. It is pay what you want. Nobody has paid for it yet, although if you wanted to support us, we would give you big virtual kiss.
Otherwise, take it for free. That's
kind of the point.
We want to be out there for free.
And next month, beginning of May, we are going to be releasing a Blood Magic supplement for D&D. So far, our rough draft has it at about 26 to 30 pages of actual content. Yep. There's going to be spells, feats, subclasses, lore, magic items, some interesting characters. We're going to have a bestiary. It's going to have a new system for blood rituals and that kind of stuff. We're very, very excited. We will be charging for that one. It will be $4.99 on RollVsEvil. We will be sending out a lot of free complimentary copies. We will post a video on TikTok, and we'll select some commenters there. The details of how to do that. But we're going to be giving out at least 3 copies to any member of our Discord that isn't a personal friend of ours, because they will be getting them already. You're welcome, Darren.
He's also going to edit. So
he's also going to edit.
I was going to say, it's I'm kind of involved in this. So.
Yeah, we're going to be giving 3 complimentary copies away to members of our Discord server that we do not know. We will announce that on our socials, and the date for entry into our Discord server to receive one of those complimentary copies will be determined at a later date. Yep. And we will also be trying to send out as many free complimentary copies to other D&D content creators on YouTube and TikTok. If you have any of your favorites, please let us know, and we will add them to the list of people that will get it for free. We're very, very excited. We want to give as many copies away as possible. But at the same time, we want to pay for our time a little bit. We're requisitioning some art that we would like to. If we could break even on paying the artists for the art, then I consider that a successful release.
That'd be a win.
That'd be a
win
big
in
win.
Our book.
Big win. You will know all the details of that when we are about to launch in May.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, gentlemen?
Eat your vegetables.
Specifically, green beans.
No, don't eat green beans.
Not those. Green beans. Those are the ones I'm not saying to eat.
Love a green bean.
I hate a green bean.
Love a pea.
Green bean is my number one food that I hate most in this world. Followed by coconut and curly leaf parsley.
I like all of those things.
Flat leaf parsley, I'm fine with.
Sure. Love a pea.
Pea is fine.
Love the broccoli and the cauliflower.
I'll eat some broccoli.
As someone who hates eating greens, I was just saying that. This did not mean to become a tangent.
Love a spinach. Not a fan of a carrot.
You're not a fan of carrot. I do
not a fan of the carrot. The cucumber.
Oh, the cucumber?
The cucumber.
I enjoy a pickle, which is a cucumber that's been put in vinegar for a while.
I prefer the pickle.
Especially if you fry it in oil with the breading.
Fried pickles?
Absolutely. Fried pickles.
I might go get some fried pickles.
If you want to get in your piece out, you should do it quickly because we might have already tried off.
In the meantime, peace out.